girls, welcome back. We are about to do some Christmas art. We're gonna make this really cool, funky, dunky Christmas tree. Now your Christmas tree might turn out kind of like mine. You don't have to do a black and white edge like mine, but you could do anything you want. So let's get started. We're gonna make an abstract, funky, dunky Christmas tree. We're probably gonna need a ruler, a pencil, and some markers. If you don't have markers, you could use crayons. You could even use paint. Actually, you could use anything you want. But today we're gonna use markers. We're gonna keep it simple. So get all your supplies. You're also, by the way, gonna need a blank sheet of white paper. Get all your supplies. Meet me back here. We'll see you in a second. So let's get started. We're gonna take our pencil. Now, if you're not really good at drawing triangles, I have a template, a stencil here. You might ask your mom and dad to make you one out of cardboard, but you could totally draw a triangle. I like to draw my triangle a little bit shorter than the paper, but if it doesn't happen that way, it's no big deal. And I'm gonna trace my template. Like I said, you don't have to trace a template. You could just draw a big old triangle. So there's my big old triangle. See it right there? Doesn't even fit really all the way in the paper. So the next step is we've done the hard part, right? But now we're gonna make these train tracks, this black and white line. I like to use a ruler for this. If you don't wanna use a ruler and you wanna do it freehand, you totally can. I'm gonna take my ruler, start up at the top of the tree, and I'm gonna draw a diagonal line, just like that. But that is too skinny, so I'm going to bring my ruler down a little bit, make sure that they're parallel. Parallel means side by side. They're the same. See how those are the same lines? You could make it thicker than that if you wanted to, or you can make it skinnier. And then I'm gonna do almost like these are zigzagging, right? Move this down, just like that. We're gonna go this way. So you can kind of see our zigzag pattern, but if you know a Christmas tree, this is kind of our artsy-fartsy garland, and garland wraps around the tree. So that's why it's not exactly what you think. So it's not almost like this, but it goes around and comes back, goes around and comes back. So do you see our zigzag broken line, just like that? Everybody do that. Now, once you have that done, you can go in and add some vertical lines. Now, if you notice, my vertical lines are not really close together. I don't want to be 79 when I'm finished coloring this thing in, right? So I'm going to make my vertical lines kind of far apart so that I have some really cool checkerboards. We call them train tracks. We want it to kind of look like a train track. See? So I'm going to do that, trying to stay inside my line, kind of keeping them far apart, just like that. We've done the hard part, boys and girls. Once you have this, we're gonna start with the ornaments, right? What shapes are ornaments? For the most part, they're circles, right? Now, if you have something around your house that is a perfect circle, like this, you could probably use that to trace a circle, but obviously we can tell this is way too big. So I'm just gonna freehand circles, and I'm gonna draw big circles, medium-sized circles. They don't have to be all the same size. I even like to draw half circles, right? That's the best way to say, look, I have a lot of circles, but I didn't have to do all the hard work, right? I even like little baby circles. Little baby circles are gonna be harder to color in, but I know you guys can do it, right? And I'm just gonna kind of fill this in until my heart is happy with whatever circles I have on my tree, right? Just like that. And some of my circles, if you noticed in my tree, my circles have circles inside them. You might want to do that. You don't have to do that with everyone. And some of my circles might be off. They're not in the center. Some might be totally in the center, right? Oops. Right, so I'm just gonna kind of pick and choose which one have circles in them, which ones don't. Maybe one right there, yeah, don't you think? I think I need another circle there, and maybe one here. All right, then we're gonna draw the what? The stump. And the cool thing about the stump, you don't have to draw the bottom, you just go like this, bloop, bloop. There is my tree trunk, right? And I'm gonna even make it a little bit more artsy. I'm gonna draw some horizontal lines like that. There we go. Look, we've drawn a funky kind of Christmas tree. Now the fun part is the coloring, right? And it's up to you. Some people like to start with the green. Some people like to start with the black, right? So just for funsies, I'm going to take a Sharpie. Now you could use a black marker from your marker set, and I'm gonna outline everything I do in my black Sharpie. And the nice thing with Sharpie is if I don't trace my pencil lines exactly, no one's gonna know. You know why? Because I can go back in and erase those pencil lines that I kind of messed up on, right? Now, I will tell you this, I don't like to color with my Sharpies because I feel like it wastes the ink, right? Sharpie ink is very special because it does not come out of your clothes. It is permanento, right? So it's very special ink. So I don't like to, I'm not gonna color in anything black with it. I can use my black Crayola markers for that. Oops, see where I missed my line completely? I'll show you how to fix that. I can go back in later and use my pencil eraser, and it's not gonna smear my Sharpie ink because my Sharpie ink is what? Permanent, right? I even know that I am going to cut out this tree later. So if I go outside the lines a little bit, it's okay because I'm going to chop them off. In fact, let's do that. Let's go ahead and trace the outside of my tree so I kind of know where I'm going. We should have done that first, but it doesn't really matter with this. You kind of outline whatever makes you happy, but take your time. Don't be in a big hurry. See, I even like to turn my paper upside down sometimes because sometimes it's easier for me to reach. If you're having a hard time reaching, this is kind of the easy part. You can sit there and watch a Christmas movie while you do this, right? Because this is a no-brainer. You're not really using all that big of a muscle just to trace. You could talk to your mom and dad or your bro or your sissy or maybe even your doggy. All right, we're almost done. What am I missing? Oh, I haven't done the stump. Why do I keep saying stump? I meant trunk, right? A stump is after the tree gets cut down. All right, so there we go. I am all traced. And like I said, if you went over missed a line, you can just take your eraser now. Look, and I can erase that pencil and no one will ever know that I missed my line, right? It looks like, oh, look at you. You just drew in a Sharpie. You're so good, you don't even need a pencil, right? There we go. So now's the fun part. Comes the coloring, right? If you want to start with your dots first, great. If you want to start with your black and white, or if you want to start with the green, I think, let's see, looking at my markers, I'm gonna start with, oh, let's do the fun part. Let's do the colors, right? So you can leave some of these white if you wanted to. I have the hardest time with polka dots because I never know what is the good place to put my color, right? Because I don't want the same color side by side. And I tell all my friends this at school. Markers are lazy, they're sleepy, they're tired, they don't want to do much of anything. So don't be in a big rush with them. They're not going to work good if you're scribbling and in a big hurry. If you take your time and go really slow with the marker, you're going to get the best ink out of that marker. If you scribble real fast, that marker is not going to be happy and it's not going to be a pretty color, right? So take your time. I even like to use the side of the marker. Sometimes that big wide fat part, and that will give you good color too. So I would advise you, if you've got markers that aren't doing so hot, you might need some new ones or might use paint or something else. So color in all those dots, and you can see that this takes some time. This is not a quick color job. If you're going to be in a rush, it's probably not going to look so good. And picking out the colors is not easy either. I have such a hard time deciding which colors are going to go where, right? Let's see, maybe we need a red one over here. Maybe put a red one there. I feel like I need a big red one somewhere, but I'm out of big ones. Maybe a blue? So as you're coloring, keep doing that, and I'll move on to the next. We'll see you in a minute. All right. So all of my polka dots are colored. I left a couple white, no big deal. So now you're gonna move on to your black marker and you're gonna start to checkerboard. That means that you're gonna color in one of these squares black, skip one, and color the next one in black. Now this can be time consuming because you kinda have to concentrate. If you don't skip one, you might mess up just a smidgy. But if you do mess up, there are always ways to fix it, and I'll show you. So once I've stopped or done one line, it should look like that, right? So what if I'm over here and I'm coloring, and I come over here and I'm coloring, and I go to color this one up? Well, I can turn that one into it, see? And so then I'll have to go back in and kind of redo every single one, but I can end up making up my own squares. See? Now they might look a little off, but that's okay, right? So we're going to color in this black and white. We've done all the hard parts, right? So now we're just coloring. And like I said, you can color while you're watching TV or while your mom or dad is fixing dinner. Right, we're almost done. I'm going to turn my paper upside down so I can reach it better. I like to do that too, so just in case my hand doesn't smear any markers. Right? And then I've even got the trunk here, and I'm going to make that stripedy. Like that, and then doo-doo-doo-doo. There we go. So what do I have left to do but to color it green? Now you could use watercolor green here or marker green, and I have in my marker set I have two different kinds of greens. So I kind of like the lighter green. You can see it's this one right here, but if you wanted to do the more traditional green, you could totally do that. Okay, now take your time with this, because if you get green anywhere else, you're not going to be happy with it. Okay, you can see with this example, I actually, before I even traced it, I started coloring it green. So everybody does it kind of different. If you want to trace it and do your circles first and then do the green last, or maybe you want to do the green first and then outline it. So there's tons of ways to do this, okay? And now you're done. Now you can see that I have cut mine out, and then I glued it on a black piece of paper, and then I even put it on a bigger piece of paper and did more checkerboards. Right? But if you didn't want to do that and you wanted to do it just simple and play with it on a piece of paper, you could totally do that. Look, you might not even want to cut it out. It looks kind of neat that way, doesn't it? All right, well, you guys have an awesome Christmas, and I'll see you next Wednesday. See ya. Bye.